3, 2, 1. We're in there.
Hey, y'all. It's Chris. We're here. Shades with the Sheriff with this guy right here, Mr. Dennis Hauck. And you know what? I thought for sure he was going to roll up in his truck, you know, it's all got the vinyl wrap on it and stuff. Nah, he rolls up on his bike. That's how you know he was a motor cop. And you guys have to remember, I know somebody has to remember, this guy parades in Marysville, and the stuff that he could do with that bike, man, it was crazy. I've never seen.
Trying to get you on the bike with me.
Yeah, I know he's trying to get me to get on the bike with him, but I'm sorry, I don't ride in the back. Actually, you know what? I was going to get on the bike. We were going to do a photo, but of course, me being stupid, I'd be sitting backwards. So, hey, Patricia is one of my regulars.
Hi, Patricia.
She comes on all the time. So, of course, like I said, we were here with Dennis, and of course, now I can't let Dennis get away without playing him in, right? So let me grab my song here. I'm gonna play him in with. We'll see if he's heard this one before and see if he likes it.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police.
Isn't that what somebody wanted to do with some rap music?
Oh, probably. Who knows? I mean, so now from now on, what we're going to do is and Dennis doesn't know this, but we're going to get taxpayers together to do a whole donation. And we're going to put like this big, massive stereo in the cruiser that he has to drive around in, and that song is going to play every time he goes somewhere.
That's not my song, though, Chris.
Well, I'm sure it's not, but what made that one funny was the whole whoop, whoop, because I mean, that's how the...
Bad Boys was my song.
I know, but I already used that one.
Okay.
And I like this one because, I mean, because I know you do traffic. I mean, you've done a lot of traffic, which is great, because
yes.
Lord knows we need that around this town. And that's what you hear. I mean, I hear them on, close to the house sometimes when they're pulling somebody over, and you hear whoop,
Oh, the
whoop.
whoop, whoop.
Yeah, they'll hit it quick just to pull them over. And of course, the lights, and unfortunately, I don't have disco lights in here, so that's what y'all got to get. Hey, Bill. Sitting out on the bike, yeah, well, we could do it sitting on the bike. I mean, I could walk out there and just hold the camera and let him talk. I mean, we could do that, but see, the nice part in here is it's quiet compared to outside, and we have AC. Not that it's hot outside.
It's not bad out today.
No,
though.
It's great outside right now, but that's why I cut my grass today.
Not bad.
So, as I said, of course, this is Mr. Dennis Hauck. Appreciate you being here,
Yes,
man. I really do.
Thank you for having me.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give this man his opportunity to go ahead and throw out his opening statement, and then we'll get into the questions. And, of course, Bill, you got a couple on here. And we'll start moving this thing forward, because my wife's going to have to get out here soon to go to the Elegant Soiree out in Calusa.
So,
man.
before I get started, I wanted to beat you to the bacon jokes. So when you say it smells like bacon, it's because there's bacon in the car.
Well, it's a good thing there's not someplace to cook right here. I'd be cooking that right now.
So that's for you.
Ooh.
That's
oh, this is from the Country Butcher.
That is bacon.
They actually do really good bacon.
From a hog that I bought at the Sutter Fair last year.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing that one year.
Supporting the junior livestock auction. So,
sausage.
That is pork sausage from a pig that I grew at home.
Oh, wow.
When I was a 4-H leader in Live Oak for Live Oak 4-H, that was our gig. We were the swine group leader.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead with the jokes now.
Yeah, well, I was like, because I was going to say, what's that smell? And he would have to say, what smell? I'd be like, I smell bacon. But yeah, they're wasted now.
So, yep, I ruined your jokes. I'm sorry.
You ruined my jokes. Look at this. The guy ruined my jokes. That's okay. I'm all right with that.
So, anyway, why I want to be the Sutter County Sheriff. Years ago, I started thinking about this probably about 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And when I found out that Sheriff Parker was retiring, I decided that I was interested in running for Sutter County Sheriff. And some of the then board of supervisors had approached me and asked me if I'd be interested in running, and knowing my background and my history with leading different units throughout my career, I felt that I would be a good fit for the people of Sutter County to lead the sheriff's department. And it's important to me to make sure that we have a sheriff's office that is out there engaged in the public. And that's something that my entire life and my entire career, I've really been involved in the community. Whether it's Read Across America, the Marysville Exchange Club, I've emceed the Officer of the Year dinner for 15 years now. The 4-H programs, the early riser Kiwanis that I'm involved with. Anything to do with kids. We go out and do a lot of pancake breakfasts for kids, and I think that's important to have a sheriff that's really involved in the community and leading by example, and convincing the men and women of the sheriff's office to follow those same principles.
Yeah.
So that's probably my main reason why I was interested in running for sheriff, and why I'm doing it. I want to create a safer Sutter County, so we all have a safe place to live, to work, and to raise our kids and our grandchildren.
Well, there you go. I mean, you can't argue with that, can you? I mean, and that's a pretty good opening statement as far as I'm concerned. Now we will get into the questions, and I'll be honest, Dennis, I think they're good questions. I went through them personally. Now, we had a lot of questions, and Bill there gave me like 7 or 8. This guy is on top of this stuff with me, man. I ask him for questions. I ask for questions. He gives them to me like crazy, and he give me the easy ones.
Where does Bill live?
Bill must be, I think he's right here in Yuba City.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
And he does not give
Local
me
resident.
easy questions. Yes, he does not give me easy questions. I had a thing called Ask Me Anything we were doing. He asked me some hard questions. I had to stop doing it because he kept making it too difficult for me. It's like this little brain don't work that well, man. Them squirrels was working overtime up there.
I used to run a blog on the Appeal Democrat website.
Really? I didn't know that.
Back in the day, called 10-8 with Sergeant Hauck when I worked at Marysville PD.
Really?
And I used to get some humdingers on there too.
Wow, I had no idea. Look at that. We got a guy who's a bit of a kind of a tech geeky kind of guy. That's cool.
I am a tech geeky guy.
Well, I'm going to get into the questions, and of course, the aforementioned Bill gave us the first one. So I'm going to get into his. Let's see here. We got please discuss the sanctuary state status and the role that Sutter County Sheriff's Office will play with coordinating efforts with ICE and other federal law enforcement, and then how are your actions going to make it safer for Sutter County residents?
That is a really long question.
It is a really good. Bill never gives me short ones.
So,
like I said, he makes me work for it.
I'll start with the top part of the question, the current status. The current status is obviously that the state government has passed laws to prohibit local law enforcement from assisting ICE in ICE raids, meaning going out to farms or businesses and assisting the ICE agents in doing raids. They also prohibit local law enforcement from assisting ICE in notifying when a person could have been in the past an ICE detainee when they're confined in the local jail. So that's the current status. I hate it. I think it was one of the worst laws, and there's been a lot of bad laws that have been passed in California in the last with our last governor. But this one, I absolutely hate it, and whenever possible, whatever means we can use as your sheriff, I will make sure that we find a way to notify ICE when we have somebody that is a dangerous individual, and there are stipulations built into the law. So if somebody has a federal warrant, that we can notify ICE, and we can hold that person and transfer them to the federal government. But
that makes sense.
What they're doing in Southern California, I think, is a great idea, where they're posting the release dates of inmates. And we have to do that in such a way where we're careful we're not segregating one segment of the population, and that would be the people that are in our country illegally. We need to do it for everyone.
Yeah.
So if you get arrested for beating up your wife, and hopefully that doesn't happen, but if
she could take me.
okay, so your wife gets arrested,
Yeah.
and does some time in county jail for beating you up.
Yeah.
You might be afraid of her, and you might want to
yes,
know.
I want to know when she's getting out. Yeah.
She's getting out. So
Yeah.
that would be another instance that posting those release dates could
Yeah.
be beneficial. Or it might be that your son or your cousin has been incarcerated for DUI or something, and you just want to know when they're going to get out so you can pick them up.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have that release date.
So it really is.
So I think there's a workaround.
It has a kind of a triple effect. It helps the victims of maybe a pretty hard criminal. It helps the families who are looking, for those guys who are maybe just on smaller, misdemeanor type crimes, and then it helps the feds out as well.
Right.
So it's kind of triple purpose. I like it. I like the idea.
And that's something that I'm going to put into play. That is definitely going to happen.
Well, and hopefully that helps Bill out with the. Well, and I think probably the piece that I see in there is really not the biggest to me is the ICE thing or the feds, but it's not even the family members who are looking for their incarcerated family member to come
keeping our
home.
community safe.
It's letting our community know when a criminal is going to be released, because he may have been a somewhat violent criminal, armed robberies and that kind of stuff.
And I don't want to take anything away from victim witness. Victim witness does do that already in some cases, but this would be in all cases. So if somebody vandalized your property or was stalking you or whatever the case may be, you'd know when that person's getting out of jail.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I saw that, you know what, James, we're going to try and hold probably questions until closer to the end because we've already got questions, but I do appreciate it. And I had to tell you that, and I've never had to say it this way, so it's going to be weird, but Bill said he lives in Yuba City, and he's also an early riser Kiwanian.
Morning, Bill.
A Kiwanian. That's so weird to say. I'm a Kiwanian. Does that mean you're a Kiwi? No, I'm just joking. Okay, so our next question
Those
comes
are people
from
New Zealand.
Yeah, I know. Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Our next one comes from Chris Chilton. Actually, Chris lives on the other side of the bridge, but he had some concerns for over here as well, probably because he works over here or has family over here. And it's that question I think a lot of people hate hearing. But what is your plan to handle the homeless problem?
So the homeless problem is a huge problem, not just in Sutter County, but Yuba and Sutter County. And I've been involved in the homeless consortium on the Sutter County side for some time. I voiced my opinion, my concern when the county wanted to take over Whitaker Hall and make that a transitional housing.
Yeah, bad idea.
Because that was it's a training center that the county doesn't have the money to go and replace that range somewhere else. It would be great if anybody out there is a millionaire and wants to drop a few $1 million and donate some land and build a new facility for the sheriff's office, give us a call. But
but if you're doing that while you're at it, it's not cheap to keep this stuff running for all these lives. So help a brother out.
So back to the question though. So I stood up against that. I was dead set against that. I went to the Board of Supervisors meetings when they were talking about that. I expressed my concern directly to a number of supervisors, called them and said, hey, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
There's got to be someplace else. So they came up with a list of 20 different locations for the transitional housing, and they put together a committee, and that committee did a great job.
Yes, they did.
They put a lot of man and woman hours into figuring it out, and they narrowed it down to a couple.
I hear they've got
locations.
3 really good locations right now. One of them that I heard about is going to be a phenomenal location.
And I don't know. I don't think it's been presented to the Board of Supervisors yet.
I'm not sure the recommendations.
I'm not going to spill the beans on it, but there is one of them that is next to a county facility that I think is probably the best.
Yeah.
So hopefully that goes through, and that's just going to be one little piece of this puzzle. So there, in my opinion, there's two different types of homeless people. There's the ones that are homeless out of necessity, and that could be you. It could be me. It could be somebody that that bought their home at the peak of the market and are really upside down in their house, and now they have a family member that gets cancer or dies, and they have they lose their job or whatever the case may be. They have financial difficulties.
We've had a lot of discussions on the page about that, because I know someone who was renting a home. The owner of the home ended up losing the home, and it threw them out, and they were living in their car for about 6 months until they finally got it.
It happens all the time. Quite common in Sutter County. I have personally helped 2 people out that I knew that lost their homes and ended up living in their cars, So it does happen, and those are the homeless out of necessity. They just got into a bad situation.
Yeah, and they're there through no fault of their own. Yeah, kind of a deal. Yeah.
So those are the people that need a hand up, not a handout, but a hand up. They need help getting back into society, getting into some transitional housing. The whole, I've done a lot of research on this topic. There was a program up in Washington that really focused on housing first and disregarded drug and alcohol addiction problems, but just put a roof over people's head. And it was a very, very successful program. It saved the local hospital an estimated $5 million a year, because every time law enforcement goes out to a homeless person that's sitting on the street that might be intoxicated, if they're, and this really is a thing, if they're too drunk to go to jail, then they end up in the back of an ambulance. They end up going to the local hospital. The estimated cost of that, you've got 1 or 2 deputies that respond to deal with the person. You've got the cost of the ambulance, which is $2,500 plus. That's never going to be recuperated. So the ambulance company loses money. To turn down a bed at the local hospital, just to turn the sheet back, $5,000. So we're in the $10,000 range every time somebody has to be transported by ambulance. So we need to give these people housing first whenever possible, and I think the transitional housing is going to help with that. The other part of this issue are the homeless out of choice, and the people that are homeless out of choice are quite commonly, they are registered sex offenders. They are people with warrants. They are people that are just have grown up their whole lives being thieves and want to live on the fringe of society and steal from the hardworking folks that live in Sutter County.
Remember, somebody stole my trike? Remember? Yeah.
Those people, it needs to be uncomfortable for them to live in Sutter County. We need to stop being the area that these people are drawn to because we ignore the issues because they go over the levee. The sheriff's office needs to go down and enforce existing laws such as the Business and Profession Code for possession of a shopping cart. It's a misdemeanor. If you take a shopping cart from that store over there and take it off of the property, you can get a citation for that. It's a misdemeanor. We need to be doing probation and parole searches. If these people are registered drug offenders and have an offense, we need to make those arrests. If they're intoxicated in public, they need to be arrested. If they're dumping waste, and when I say waste, I'm talking about the human waste that they're dumping directly into our rivers and streams and into our river, as well as the garbage, they need to be cited for those health and safety violations. It needs to be uncomfortable for them to live in Sutter County.
I can agree with that.
And I tell them to move to Oroville. No offense to anybody that lives in Oroville, but
no, I told them to move to Portland, because Portland
would be a good place too.
I was up there not too long ago, man, and they had a big problem, and they got rid of it. They did a bunch of stuff, and now these guys are literally living in the grassy area between the freeway, in tents between the freeway and the on and off ramps, and they seem to be okay with it. So I don't know. But no, I think I agree with you, though. I mean, there's definitely got to be the side where people who are trying to help themselves get out of that situation, we should be doing everything we can to help them.
And there are tons of programs. I'm involved in with Salvation Army. I have a friend who is really involved in Habitat for Humanity. And there are tons of programs locally that want to help people.
Well, and I know that I've had discussions about it, and for whatever reason, Sutter County supervisors and CAOs seem to think that they all of a sudden need to handle the homeless problem. They shouldn't be in the homeless business, especially when we have somebody like Glad Tidings that said, hey, we'll do what we can to help out. I mean, we have subject matter experts in this community already on this problem. We should be working with them more than trying to figure it out on our own, I think.
And it's such a huge problem because it went ignored for so long.
Time.
And it went ignored long enough that the population that lives over the levee from Shanghai Bend was able to file a lawsuit to keep the county from going and enforcing the new ordinance that they wrote. Well, we didn't need a new ordinance. It's against the law for you or I to go and camp on.
Oh, you can bet
land.
if I went down there and camped, I'd get in trouble. I'd get arrested for it probably.
Yeah, and the building code violations. They're building stuff down there that there's no permits issued for that. But if you or I build
that's over 120 square feet.
My goodness,
boom.
we better have a permit.
Yep, code enforcement's going to hit us.
There's a lot of things we can address.
Yeah, there is. That's a good answer. I like that. So our next question came from Liz Cervantes. So this is kind of a little bit of a two-part, if you guys remember from the other two lives. Why do you want this position, and what qualifications set you apart from the other candidates?
So
I think so. Yeah, we covered that in the opening statement.
What did that green? That didn't mean anything. The green light up there.
It just probably saying that our connection's back because it goes a little crazy. With
So if we weren't here, I already answered that question. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So I covered why I want to be the sheriff, and I feel that I'm qualified to be the sheriff because it's something I really, really know how to do, and that's lead people.
Yeah.
And being the sheriff is you're the leader. You are. It's like being the general of the army, in the army. You have to be able to lead your platoons and give orders to those underneath you. You need to be able to delegate. Yeah. And so in my career, I'll rewind back to 2007. I had applied to be the chief of police of Marysville at a time when Marysville didn't have a chief, and I was doing a lot of the administrative functions and helping out. A couple of us had stepped up and were assisting in that position. Jack Beecham was there as an interim chief of police, and so I applied to be the full-time chief, and they ended up hiring a guy named Wally Fullerton from Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
But unbeknownst to me, everybody that I worked with, my co-workers, the people that worked under me, they all got together and drafted a letter, sent it to the city council, asking the city council to appoint me as the chief. And when I found out about that, it really made me feel good because that's the type of environment that I created. People wanted to work for me. And ever since then, I have always strived to create that type of environment. I'm firm but fair, and the environment that I create is one that people want to work for me and want to continue working for me.
Well, there you go. You can't argue with that answer. People want to work for you. I mean, y'all all know I'm a butt, so that's why I'm not going to be trying to be sheriff.
I'll let you be a volunteer, though.
I can be a volunteer. There you go. Does that come with a badge? I mean, not the little sticker one?
No.
No, never mind. I was looking for a sticker. I thought I have one at home somewhere. I was going to wear it today. So let's go to the next one here while...
friend of yours?
Nah, I have no idea who that is, boy, but he came rolling up quick and got his music cranked up. Thank God we got our windows up. So this one here is from Joshua. Or value in a sheriff.
Does that end with what makes a sheriff?
That's what I said, right?
What makes a sheriff?
What makes a sheriff? Question. And then what do you believe should be the core value in a sheriff?
So, what makes a sheriff is hopefully what I have to offer, and that's being involved in the community, being involved in the department that I work in, and taking responsibility for trying to make the community safer. Those are really important for the sheriff.
Yeah.
The second part of that, what qualifications do
Well, it's like what's the core values
or the
of
core
sheriff?
value?
And I think really you kind of hit the core values at the same time of talking about what makes a sheriff too. I mean, you know, the safety of the community and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that is, but it's not just the community. And I've always said my entire career, I learned this from a guy that I worked for at one time that was one of my mentors, and that was Chief Mark Siemens. And if you take care of the people are going to take care of business. Now, what I've added to that is that the business is taking care of the public. So if you take care of the people are going to take care of business.
So it is cyclic. I mean, when you really think about it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then here's your Kawanian buddy.
All right.
Bill McClemens with another one.
Give it
Thanks,
to me, Bill.
What is the greatest law enforcement need that you see that our community could benefit from that is not currently being provided by the Sheriff's Department?
The greatest law enforcement need. So the sheriff's office is really lacking in rural patrol. And you know, the city of Yuba City does a great job with putting enough men and women on the street to cover the entire city. At any given time, there are 5 to 7 patrol officers on the street, and plus a supervisor. During day shift, you add in a couple to 3 motor officers. You've got some detectives, some reserve officers, some cadets. You know, so I mean, you can easily have 15, 16 people on patrol during the day in Yuba City. Now, the county, on the other hand, 608 square miles, you've got 3 to 4 deputies covering that entire land mass. And we need more deputies on the street. Those of you that live in Sutter County that don't live within the city limits need to get behind me and help me push the Board of Supervisors to get more men and women to patrol outside of the city limits.
Yeah.
If for those that don't know, you know, if we have a domestic violence call over in Sutter, that's a 2-person call.
Yeah.
More cops get injured during DVs than almost any other call.
Yeah.
So we always send 2 people to that. Now I've got 1 or 2 people left to cover from Meridian to Rioso.
Yeah.
And if we have another hot call that is a 2-deputy call, now you're waiting in line. Or we're having to call for mutual aid. We're having to, hopefully CHP is in the area. Hopefully it's close to the city and Yuba City can step up and come cover the call. And Yuba City and Sutter County do a good job of that. There's been many times where I've had to call mutual aid from Sutter County to come help us cover calls in Yuba City, even with that number of officers where we get them, you know, deployed on one incident. Wow. So I think our greatest need is people, and we need more of them. We want to create an environment in Sutter County that is safe for everyone, and in order to do that, we need more people on the streets.
Makes sense. And I know these guys have heard me talk about it in the past. I just had a call that I made to the Sheriff's Department a few weeks ago when somebody stole my trike. And, of course, that's not an emergency. It took 10 or 15 minutes for the officer to get there, which is fine. I ended up knowing the officer. It was one of my Little League kids. And we were talking, and I know that, like, right now, if you have 3 to 4 officers in the county at one time, one of them is stuck in Live Oak. He can't leave Live Oak. That's his area to patrol. Unless he's bringing somebody to the jail.
Yeah, that's a Live Oak's a contract city.
Yeah, so then if we have an officer who's in trouble down at the county line between Sutter and Sacramento, and he has to call to get another officer from basically, we were talking the Franklin and 99 intersection right there at the Circle K, it would take an officer at about 110 to 120 miles an hour, still get 20 minutes to get down there. that is not protecting our officers. We definitely need to get more officers. There's no doubt about that.
And we, meaning the public. I mean,
Yes, we meaning the public.
Need to put your foot down and scream and yell for the Board of Supervisors to allocate more positions for the Sheriff's Office.
Well, and I think with some of the changes we may have in the board, we may see that happen, hopefully.
I'm hoping. And that's something that as Sheriff, historically the Sheriff hasn't gone to the Board of Supervisors and fought for salaries and maintaining people.
Yeah.
Is that you or me?
That's not me.
That's me. Sorry about that. Thought I turned it off.
It's all right. Not a big deal. It's just ringing. Not a problem at all.
It's the
hey, Stan.
It's Clint Curry from the new Yuba County DA. Should I take that call?
They're Yuba County. They can wait.
I'll call him back.
They're Yuba County. They can wait.
So, but and that's ironic that I didn't answer that call, because that's something that I pride myself on, is being accessible and accessible to anyone. If any member of the public wants to get a hold of me, my email address that's on my website and on my Facebook, I'm the one that answers all the emails that come into that. My phone number is listed on there, and as long as I'm not engaged in something,
because y'all can't be interrupting my time.
So. And I pride myself on being accessible to the public.
That's cool. Well, I know we're getting close on time, because of other events going on.
Your wife's got something.
Yeah, my
on.
wife's got something to go to, and she'll kill me if she don't get there on time. So I'm going to go ahead and have Dennis go ahead and kind of do a closing statement. And then, like I said, we wanted to be able to answer questions that come in live, but sometimes they roll kind of fast, and so sometimes they're kind of hard to catch.
But I will go back through the feed.
But yeah, he can go back through and answer those for you. That's great, because I think that's a big deal that you guys do get an answer at least, so somebody's paying attention, because I'm not answering them. Because you won't like my answers.
And it matters to me. What the public has to say matters to me.
There you go.
So...
All right, so it's all up to him now with his closing statement.
All right, well, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Somebody once told me, make your speeches short, sweet, and spectacular. So I appreciate any supporters that are out there watching tonight, and hopefully I've got some new supporters from this. Please go on my website, check out my Facebook page. I've got a couple videos that we've shot and put up there that are about me. And
no, I did not shoot them.
No,
they actually got a professional to do it.
But he does do good videos. You do good videos, Chris.
I try. I appreciate it.
And get out and vote on June 5th, because without the votes, all of this is for naught. And
there you go.
The only way I can make changes with the Sheriff's Office is with your help. So thank you very much.
Now, you can't make changes in the Sheriff's Office if you're not in the Sheriff's Office, right?
That's why I said with your help.
There you go. So, no, Dennis, we really do appreciate you coming in, man.
Thanks, buddy.
I hope you guys have had fun with this. I think most people have, and you guys know my goal here was for you guys to see not candidate Dennis Hauck, but to see Dennis. See the guy that I know. I mean, I was supposed to bring something with me and I forgot. I was going to show him my handheld gimbal and I forgot to bring it.
I forgot to bring mine too.
But we have similar interests. He's a drone guy. I'm a drone guy. That kind of thing. So, I mean, I know Dennis, just the guy. I don't see him. when I think of Dennis Hauck, I don't think Dennis, the officer, because I wanted that personal contact and connection here. That's what I was looking for. So, I do appreciate you guys coming on, and of course, as usual, this will stay up through the election in case you missed something. That way you can go back and watch it. Hopefully we didn't have any major connection issues.
If we did, I wasn't paying attention.
If we did, I wasn't either. And I know we had some with Brandon and Jeff, so he could probably say, well, good, I hope they had them and not me. So
I'm not like that.
Yeah, but I am. But no, and then go check out Dennis's Facebook page, the website, all that kind of stuff. And like he said, I mean, you can't argue with this one. June 5th, make sure you vote, or if you get it in the mail, make sure you do it then. But yeah, I think that's about it. And this was our final Shades with the Sheriff. Where we go from here, I don't know. We will be doing the next forum, which should be the sheriff candidates and the DA candidates, I believe.
There's 2 forums next week.
Oh, there's 2. There's one on the 2nd.
One on Wednesday and one on Thursday.
Oh, wow. Okay, I guess we're going to be busy. We're going to be Wednesday and Thursday.
Both of them at City Hall.
both at City Hall. So there you go. So you guys got to be looking for that. All right. So we're going to get out of here. Hope everybody has a good weekend. And if you're doing anything fun, do it safely. And we'll talk to you later. And as usual, I'll talk to you when I talk to you. See ya.